Welcome to the jump off point. I am Steppin' Sly.
And I'm Super Zig.
And I'm pissed
Super
off.
Chief.
I'm Spook. Spook, by the way. Hi.
So, guess what movie we've just seen? It's the Justice League. So, let's start talking about what we watched tonight.
Bland, boring, nothing happening, crap.
So, you liked it?
It's fantastically nothing film. It was a fantastically nothing film.
It was vanilla. A vanilla film with blandness scattered all over the top. And you could sit back and watch it and say, ooh, nothing really happened.
I don't care.
Nothing
happened, and I don't care what happened. I don't care what's going to happen to these people. Don't care what's happened to these people.
This is the first time I reckon I've been in a cinema and I've watched wallpaper dry. And I've looked at the floral pattern on the wall and thinking, you know what? 2 hours from now, this will be just as fucking boring as it was when I started looking at it.
It was actually right. You know, the 10-minute mark was the same as watching the credits. That's how bland it was.
Well, I mean, in fairness to the movie, because I loved it. In fairness to the movie, did you really care about these characters prior to this movie?
I care about Batman.
Did you care about this Batman?
I care about the injustice given to Superman.
And the Wonder Woman film was not too bad. So the rest of them, Marvel does it well. They actually have a film of people before they put them in these ensemble casts and a story and a background.
And a director.
So they actually tried to put a background to these people in 5 minutes.
The whole DCEU is all been about. It's all been about catch up. They are so behind the eight ball. They're trying to compete with another successful franchise that they've lost fucking track of what they're trying to achieve with this stuff.
It's my biggest problem with this series, and I always...
You keep taking me to it.
My second biggest problem with this series, and I go on about this a lot, it's not specific to this franchise, is if your origin movie is shit, you're never going to fucking recover. And it's very similar to the J.J. Abrams driven Star Trek. It wasn't a good movie. Star Trek Into Darkness was worse, and Star Trek Beyond was very much like this. It was just vanilla shit. You build a foundation of just crap. You're not going to get anything out of it. And watching this, the most objectionable thing, I say objectionable a lot, but the most objectionable thing, again, is the continuing retconning of characters. Superman apparently was this, They had a scene, and it was a Joss Whedon scene. That had Joss Whedon all over it.
No, you got it all wrong. He's a wonderful man.
Yes, where some kids wanted a picture with Superman, and Superman smiled and all that.
Hey, well, he didn't kill him.
He didn't kill him, but I remember
that's why they smiled.
Go back to when
I think we're safe.
Go back to when Man of Steel was concocted out of some unholy darkness.
Shat, I think, is probably a more apt term.
I actually recall sitting there with you two before the movie, and we were talking about it. We were saying, what do we expect? And I actually remember you saying, Spook, there's been no danger signs. We thought we were going to get at least a half-decent movie. The trailers...
A safe Superman.
The trailers up to that point were great. The bits with the Russell Crowe, Jor-El, and the Kevin Costner, Jonathan Kent.
It does build up a persona. It really does typify Superman.
And Zack Snyder does awesomely with visuals. The sweet visuals. Yeah, he does. And I remember going into that movie thinking, I think I'm going to see at the very least a good movie. And I remember walking out of that movie and thinking, what probably could have helped this movie is if they put Superman into the movie, and that whole universe. The other thing, as you've said, Spook, there is they're just constantly trying to play catch up with Marvel. Now, you look at the timeline of this whole universe. So, Superman shows up on Earth in Man of Steel, like he's the first superhero, and he does his stuff. But apparently, Wonder Woman showed up in World War I, but did nothing for 100 years because she was so heartbroken.
She was brooding.
Brooding over Steve Trevor. And apparently, Batman had been around for 20 years.
Chasing penguins. In Gotham, which is just across the river. And while all this is happening, he apparently didn't think I should get involved in any of this, or no one actually mentioned, it's Superman's like a hero, like Batman or something. No one's
Wasn't Superman only around for like about 4 minutes in that whole
Yeah,
film?
but this is the thing is, like, as they've gone on and made these movies, they've constantly retconned the timeline. They've talked about, like the Wonder Woman origin movie is set in World War One.
Yep.
So they've constantly gone back, and you look at that whole thing before. I mean, I actually find it really offensive the way they've framed these movies or framed these stories. Apparently, in Man of Steel, Kal-El comes to Earth and the Kryptonians come to chase him, and there's this big shit fight which destroys half of Metropolis. Wonder Woman's been there for 100 years and she doesn't think, this is the time I should make my return. She waits until Batman sends her an email 1 movie later saying, we need your help against this big motherfucking genetic monster called Doomsday. Would you come out? And she's going, yes, you've taught me the error of my ways. I realise I should help people.
Well, I'll take something else in isolation around that too. There was a moment towards the end of the film where Steppenwolf makes a statement about, Kryptonian. What would a Kryptonian mean to him at this point? The Kryptonians were established in this thing as a lazy fucking species that sent some ships out 20, 30,000 years ago and then genetically inbred.
You said ships, right?
And ships and stayed on Krypton. Nobody knew when they come to Earth they're going to be superpowered individuals, so why would they be a threat to fucking Steppenwolf?
Because the scriptwriter decided that they put it in.
Because you've established now that Superman is Superman, it's something he should be scared of. But the thing is, you've not actually established that in any point of these movies.
In Batman vs Superman,
there's so many leaps of faith that are meant to be taken in these films. It's actually to the point where it's becoming offensive.
Oh no, not to the point. It is offensive. In Batman vs Superman, he had a few little saves and people deified him and all that sort of stuff. But in this movie, he was regarded in such a way where I'm just looking again. That's the Christopher Reeve Superman you're talking about from the Richard Donner films. I have not seen the Henry Cavill Superman, and it's no fault of Henry Cavill, obviously. Do any of this stuff get regarded by fucking the civilians of Earth, the people of Earth as, he's this great savior, he is this great hope, he can lead the way and all this shit. I've not gotten that from the previous 2 movies.
No. The thing was that interview with the kids at the start was, again, it's tacked on to make you suddenly forget the fact that this guy is responsible for the death of hundreds of thousands of people, and now he's a wonderful person because he saved a kitten or whatever it is.
It's a rubbish scene. Let's be honest. Like you said, it was a Whedon scene that he put in to try and lighten up somewhere along the line and lighten up the film. It's just rubbish. Putting it in is
you can't take brooding emo Superman out of those previous films and make him what he should be in this film.
And you've summed it up there. If I was to say to you, if I owned a studio like Warner Brothers,
why did you buy it? I've got a lot of money.
So if I owned a studio,
is that your superpower?
Yeah. If I owned a studio, I'll go first with you, Chief. And I said, I want you to make a Superman movie or television series for me. What are the 3 things you would include in that television series or movie?
Superman.
Yeah. And
Lois.
Yep. Oh, but what sort of relationship would they have? Would Lois know who he is?
At the beginning, you'd never have to have. That's part of the
journey.
The journey of any sort of Superman film, especially if you're doing an origin Superman film, is what they did. You have to have the journey that Lois finds out that Clark is Superman. So you got Clark, you got the whole Clark Superman persona, which is inherent in what Superman is and what Superman's been built around.
Part of the evolution.
Yeah, you got Lois, and you got a bad guy. You need a bad guy, Lex.
Spook.
At the beginning.
I think you've pretty much covered it, to be honest. Is there something you think we've missed?
No, I don't think... I actually... you see a lot of people defend this universe and these movies. If Superman in all media, in the cartoons, in the old George Reeves series, in Lois and Clark with Dean Cain, in Smallville, in the Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve movies, he's a Boy Scout. That's who Superman is. Mm-hmm. The moment you take a step away from him being a Boy Scout, that's no longer Superman. You've actually just making a new character. You're making Hancock with fucking Will Smith, who's like a brooding super being. Yeah. And this is one thing this universe hasn't understood. I know Zack Snyder will run around defending, I'm trying to contemporize Superman, I'm trying to bring him into the present and all that sort of stuff. that's not Superman then, in terms of that regard.
You need the traditional Superman in context of the current environment to be a greater than normal superhero. The world's a fucking terrible place. You really do, as I'm paraphrasing Jarrell here from Man of Shit, is you do need that beacon of hope.
Yep.
And that's what Superman of the old era should be to the people today. That thing that you would look towards when there's all hope is
To
lost.
be better.
There's someone that you can rely upon to save you and to help you.
And if you go back to the Richard Donner movie, which is maybe, 77, 78, I had an argument with someone who claimed to be a Superman fan, but this is quite a few years ago, and we're talking about Man of Steel. He goes, what do I even do? Save cats out of trees, which is what Christopher Reeve, Superman, did. That is Superman. That's what he does. He will stop to do that because it's part of the example he's leading. It is part of the person who he is. Whereas, again, no fault of Henry Cavill, this Superman runs around brooding. He should be on fucking Prozac.
Well, in this movie, when he... So, let's go back to this flick. Superman comes back in the middle of the film by some really stupid magic box. Let's be honest.
And let's get back to that
so you'll get back to that in a minute. So he comes back, this stupid magic box, and doesn't remember himself and he's a bad guy for all of about 4 minutes in the whole film, which actually had good potential for being a bad guy for a while, like Superman 3 in the Christopher Reeve one. They actually could have done a lot better with that and kept it going for a lot longer and got more of a payoff out of all that sort of thing. But then they retconned him when he became himself. He went and saved the people at the end rather than fight Steppenwolf. He went off to save the people before he falls. Which is fine. I actually don't mind that.
But that needed to be done in the first movie.
Yeah, but that needed to be done in the first film and the second film.
And even then, you didn't really see it, except apart from it carried a building.
He carried a building,
which you assumed just had people in it.
Without its foundation, still remained intact.
Yeah,
but he is a Superman.
He is Superman. That's right. So they kind of, like you said at the beginning, they're trying to retcon Superman into what Superman's meant to be in this film. But they're not doing a very good job. Let's be honest.
Actually, I'm going to be honest. In terms of some of the Superman moments, I actually thought they did a good job. It was Joss Whedon.
He's good. I thought Henry Cavill's actually good as Superman.
In terms of the character, I actually thought the scene where he comes back, where he's resurrected, and he just beats the shit out of everyone. I like that.
I love that. He was just such a tough bastard. No one, all of the rest of them were not enough to him.
And that's it should be his greatest superpower over his journey. He's always just got the answer to everything.
He's awesome.
Yeah, that moment where, and I didn't mind it either.
That was great.
Where the Flash went to run behind him, and he paused, and he had that glance out of the eye.
I just moved. That was fantastic.
I can fucking see you, mate.
Yeah.
And it sort of picked up speed.
You collectively all got all these powers, but no match for me. And that's what Superman should be about. He is almost an untouchable god.
Yeah.
But he's an untouchable god that's incorruptible.
Yeah. But it was also great. I mean, I shouldn't say the one thing, but one of the things I really don't like about this universe too, and I know some of this is coming from the rebooted comics and all that, I don't like this version of Wonder Woman being the blood of a god and all that sort of stuff, and she's flying around and all that sort of shit. I don't like that Aquaman, I mean, I don't know very much about Aquaman, but he's flying around, and they're just basically Superman Juniors.
Yeah.
There's not enough distinction between the characters if they're just going to be Superman Juniors.
You got to have realistic limitations to their abilities to make them vulnerable.
Yeah.
At the moment, you've got Superman, who's the king of the world. You've got Wonder Woman, who's not that far behind, and now you've got Aquaman, who doesn't need to be near water. He's just like Superman light, except he can't fly, but I can be flung. I'm invulnerable.
Or jump high.
It's always just about a fight. It's always just about who's the toughest. The big bastard who's the toughest, and I've got to use that. Where's Aquaman using like the fish? Alright, whatever. Bring the big octopus out and grab some or whatever. I don't know what it is. Bring a big wave or something. I don't know what it is. Bring something. But that's aqua.
It's almost like the great
bring crocodiles, big ass crocodiles. I don't care.
The old Super Friends comics. It was the cartoons. It was pretty much like, I know we can fight in a city, says Aquaman, but it'd be really beneficial for me and being part of the team if we could take him to the beach.
But that's good.
And I will drag a giant fucking octopus up there and strangle them. Other than that, I'm fucking worthless.
But they could have made him control the weather or something like that.
Drag him to the toilet block. There's an S-bend there I can leap out of.
Again, I haven't read a lot of
A
Aquaman
little
comics.
bottle that you can use.
The Aquaman in this movie, in the Justice League, seems totally disconnected
It was pointless.
from his origin.
He did nothing in it.
Yeah, and you look at this story in terms. I mean, if you go back to that scene, where Superman just beats them all up, and we mentioned this, we turned to each other, where Superman flings Batman into the police car behind him. That should be killing just a mortal person. I actually find it really
crushed the fucking car.
It actually crushed the car. And I actually find it really stupid. I understand why they do it for dramatic tension. They have two cops with their guns leveled on him. It's like, really, would the cops actually believe that? I actually like a scene in. I
just want to jump in for a second here. We're talking stupid moments in that particular scene. When he got fucking crushed into the car, he then goes onto the Batcom link and says to Alfred, "Give me plan Zeta, Gamma, Beta, whatever the fuck it was." He pretty much then sort of gets to stand up, and then fucking suddenly Lois Lane's there with Alfred. This is the same miraculous appearance she makes at the end of fucking Man of Steel from the other side of Metropolis to be there at the moment when Man of Steel needs her the most.
Well, they kind of tried to explain that later on, and it might have been part of the editing and cuts that they talked about it. Yeah, that was my plan. I planned to have her because...
You pronounced cuts wrong again.
Because Wonder Woman said, "Oh, it's about heart." This is, I think, when I was out having a pee because it was so exciting film, such an exciting film.
Maybe it was a vomit.
Wonder Woman was talking to Batman, I think somewhere along the line, said, "Oh yeah, you need heart to save him," or whatever, some bullshit like that.
Well, they're going to come and sing Barry.
And I think the setup was about, he always set up to have Lois there to when Superman woke up, in essence.
Can we just sort of
she acted surprised though when you're alive. She's on
Mate, of course you're going to be surprised that he's live, but
so the premise of this is that Batman rings up and says, "I think I can resuscitate him with a mother box. If he goes bad, I want you to be there with Alfred. Don't get into the conflict. Just fucking hang around the outside. You can be there in a second. When I need you, I'll call you. I know you love him. Just stay the fuck away."
That's right. I'm sure that's exactly what the conversation is.
Do you know why I'm right? Because I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Actually, let's go back to retconning. Okay, so in this one, they resurrect Superman with the mother box. At the end of Batman vs Superman, where they bury him, the gravel on the coffin is clearly levitating.
That implied, and we
alive.
talked about this, that maybe because he's Kryptonian, maybe because his supercells are charged with solar radiation, that his death was only temporary, and that his body was naturally... And that's what it implied. He's not dead.
But as we've talked about before, we said
he became dead again.
Yeah,
sorry, you can keep going.
But this actually, in the comics, and I actually read the novelization of the Life and Death of Superman, they actually explained it. They said he's basically just a big solar battery.
Yep.
If he dies, just leave him out in the sun, he'll recharge, he'll be back.
Yep.
Burying him is the worst thing for him because you're cutting him off from the sun. But in terms of Batman vs Superman, that suggested like he's alive. It did. You cannot draw anything else from that other than something's happening there. You can only generate that levitation of gravel and shit if you are alive. In this one, they actually introduced the fucking plot device of, let's use a mother box. And after it resurrects him, nobody actually go back and fetch that mother box. Let's just all concentrate on this fight. And then Steppenwolf will get his motor running and come out and get that third fucking mother box, and he'll run off, and we'll all.
So let's go back. I reckon though this is a post, and I'm not defending Snyder here, but I reckon this is a post Snyder move.
So you're defending Snyder.
There was all that talk about in the comics when Superman died. He came back he got rejuvenated through the Kryptonian technology, and then he had to wear this, and again it was just reinventing of the character to sell some more comics, but he came back in a black suit for a while, and it was meant to be like a rejuvenation, recovery, it's helping you do things suit, and they hinted that this was what Snyder was going to do with this, that you're going to see the black suit in this film. I don't know whether it was actually, I could be completely deluding myself, but I'm sure I saw pictures on Twitter and stuff before it was anywhere near production that there was scenes.
I saw the black suit. I don't know if it was just fan.
We talked about it before. This is meant to be two films, so
I think there was a lot of stuff that was cut out.
Therefore, it was less than 2 hours, which is phenomenal for a superhero film in the first instance, and then really should be 4.5 hours of filmmaking that actually has been cut into.
I reckon if they
one
chose to
film.
make that decision to cut that whole period out, then they had to get another reason to get Superman alive,
Yeah.
and the mother
And
box
that was- and the mother box
it.
was the
And
reason.
I reckon, and that's how it pretty much come across. This is just convenient plotting.
All right, I mean, so let's actually look at the movie. I reckon about the first 2 minutes, I was thinking this actually isn't that bad.
I reckon that moment with Batman on the roof with the normal down to fucking earth dopey criminal walking out with the sack over his shoulder. He should have had swag written on it to make me realise he was a criminal. But that aside, that moment when it flicked across and Batman was sitting there in the sort of shadows, that was a really good fucking moment, I thought. I think that was really good. And then the fucking mosquito come in and it just completely took me out of the film.
Well, I like that because that just showed that Batman's still, even though Superman's not there, Batman's still doing what he's always done. There is no difference to him whether he's there or not.
And then the problem there is the mosquito comes. I think it was a villain from Highlander 2. And Batman kills him, and then the criminal of a Batman has
But why would the
arrested.
fucking mosquito die? Why would it leave the imprints of 3 mother boxes on the wall?
Ah, because it's a plot device. But then the criminal says to Batman, "Oh, you know they're coming because Superman's gone, isn't
Jeez,
it?"
I'm glad he was there to explain it all for me.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, is
Because this
the same-
criminal went from being a fucking criminal to being fucking a wiki page.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
that was what actually drove a lot of, actually not drove, that built the foundation for what the story is. That there's some evil fucking entity coming again, and look, Hollywood, it's sort of getting boring with all these entities coming to want to take over Earth. Maybe it could be something a little bit more original in this.
Well, Lex Luthor.
I bet it's.
I love bringing the Justice League together.
I actually,
We should have a road league now.
yeah, I'll even go back to something like Superman Returns, which I don't think it was a great movie. It was an okay movie. It had some great moments.
It's looking a lot better these days.
But, in terms of Lex's plan to fucking destabilize Earth and this East Coast is going to fall and
Oh, that's controversial now.
Yeah, land will rise and it's like it's a very, you look at that plot and go, okay, there's motive there. Steppenwolf is just, I'm just going to fucking take over Earth. Yeah, I lost years ago. I'm going to come out.
But the other thing with that
I've been doing this for centuries. I've got to terraform the planet to make it like mine.
But it's so stupid. Where did the box is sitting there with the lanterns and with the...
They had arrows on it.
We'll get to the fucking arrows. Fucking arrow. How the fuck can you have arrows? There's nuclear bombs around, and the Amazonians have got fucking bows and arrows. Really? Are you for fucking real?
The Amazon women...
A 12-year-old in the back blocks of America's got fucking semi-automatic machine guns, and the Amazons have got fucking bows and arrows.
And
really?
Across 2 films, they've had their asses kicked really, really easily. So what is
With
it that
fucking
they're
bows and
protecting?
arrows. Yeah, you're protecting this superstar box that is power, unmitigated power with fucking bows and arrows. Anyway, what I was going to say before that came up. How did Step? There's the box at the Amazonians, and Steppenwolf just comes with his fucking elevator, picks up the box and nicks off. And then, there's one at the Lanterns. I'm going to come with my fucking elevator in there, and I'm going to pick up that box too. What the fuck was he doing for the last 4,000 years?
He was
smoking a pipe?
No, because apparently Superman had been on Earth for like a couple of years, and he thought, I can't go to Earth.
Oh yeah, because Superman's been
He was running around for millennia
2 years ago,
and then Superman popped up. He's like, "Ooh, lucky I didn't go. He was about to come."
That's right, for 4,000 years, I wasn't going to have a
Can someone find me a planet without Kryptonians, please? Yes, that one over there will do. We'll take that one over.
Yeah, no, I don't like
hang
the
on,
colour. I don't like the colour. I don't like the colour of that one.
This one's become free. The Kryptonians dead.
But it's apparently
Fucking elevators and bows and arrows, honestly.
So you look at that too. I mean, all right, let's sort of start breaking down the movies. So just ranting generally. All right, so that was shit. In terms of
I think ranting in general pretty much matches this film.
no, but look at it.
I think that's the plot. I was fucking randomly moving from one thing to another thing.
Right.
Okay, let's examine some of the characters. All right, so we've looked at the Superman. I thought Gal Gadot was really good as Wonder Woman in this one. I actually didn't.
Upskirt woman.
Yeah, I don't think she was. I thought she was okay. I thought she was serviceable in the previous movies. I thought she was good in this one.
Great angles.
In terms of Batman, Ben Affleck, he's good. I mean, he's working with what he's got. He doesn't look like he's that much interested, and he apparently wants out now, allegedly.
Can't understand why.
Aquaman. I mean, so you have this Atlantean who feeds cancer tuna to
He
this
brings fish to people who need fish.
to this fishing town.
He's a fisherman. That's what he is.
Because they're important.
And we still didn't establish whether he talks to fish, though.
No.
And that seemed to be really important.
It was a running joke because.
should have got the fucking octopus. I told you. I should have got the octopus to.
But that was like one of the worst.
To grab Steppenwolf.
Bruce Wayne should have woken up one morning with a fish talking to him in bed. That would have put it to bed.
Maybe the fish's head in the bed.
Yep. Oh.
You know, cut off the fish's head, put the fish's head.
I
in
know
the
all
bed.
those characters were flagged in the previous movie, Batman and Superman, but
In the YouTube clips.
when he was having the dream sequence, what the fuck was it?
Oh no, the characters were in the previous one.
Yeah.
Lex had
In
the,
the dossier, yeah.
files of them.
But I mean, I actually find it funny that Bruce Wayne's going, "Oh, I need to gather a team. Oh, look, there's a town here. Some guy brings fish. I think he could be a superhero." And he goes over there.
It's John West.
And the Flash's character, he was funny. It was like he's visiting his dad in prison. His dad's going, "You got a job?" And the Flash going, "No." His dad's going, "You're a bum! Get out of here!" And at the end of the movie, Flash comes back and goes, "I got a job, Dad!" And I'm thinking, Flash, you got some pretty good gifts there. You could probably get any job you wanted. And actually, this really annoys me because if you look at the previous incarnations of Flash, I mean, you can only go back to television. What we have now with Grant Gustin, is his name?
Yeah.
In the current series.
It's a really good Flash.
Yeah. He is a prodigious scientific talent. So
Barry Allen always was.
And
He always was.
That's the reason he became the Flash.
And you go back to the previous series with John Wesley Fripp, I think it is. And again, he is a forensic guy, great scientific talent. This Flash is apparently a bum who's just sort of drifting around.